What if I told you sleep could literally save your life? Yeah, I know that sounds dramatic, but after reading these 3 books, I'm convinced that prioritizing your sleep is one of the most important things you can do for your health. Today, I'm going to break down Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, the Sleep Book by Dr. Guy Matthews, and Sleep Smarter by Shawn Stevenson, all condensed into this video. Let's start with this bad boy right here, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. This was the first book that I picked up to read about sleep. I picked it up one night when I couldn't fall asleep. The funny thing is, it turned out that my sleep problems were caused by caffeine. A few days into reading Matthew Walker's book, I randomly woke up at 3:30 a.m. and went over to check on my dad in the middle of the night, but this was no random middle of the night awakening. Looking back on it, this was the last time I'd get to see my dad alive. Matthew Walker preaches one clear message: sleep is a non-negotiable, and if you don't get it in check, it can destroy your health. Walker explains why we sleep by diving into the science of sleep stages, REM, non-REM, sleep spindles, and much more on how your body recovers at night with this essential process. But the real wake-up call is what happens when you don't get enough sleep. Poor sleep increases your risk of heart disease, stroke, and even Alzheimer's. It's not just about feeling groggy the next day. It's about survival. He's seen and shows the studies that even short-term sleep deprivation makes us mentally and physically weaker. And when it comes to things like caffeine, sleeping pills, or even the blue light from your phone, Walker's crystal clear. These are some of the biggest enemies of good sleep. Caffeine stays in your system for almost up to 12 hours, and that blue light from your phone is messing with your melatonin levels, keeping you wired when you should be winding down. And sleeping pills, they may knock you out, but they disrupt the quality of your sleep and can lead to many long-term health problems. The message from Why We Sleep is simple. Sleep is essential to living a long, healthy life. At the end of the book, he drops some actionable tips, kind of like the ones in my free guide, 11 high-quality tips for sleep. I won't go into detail on it now, but if you'd like to grab it for free, go down in the description and it will be there. But a few days after getting this book, my dad suddenly passed away on the morning I mentioned. A few weeks into reading Matthew Walker's book, he says adults 45 years or older who sleep fewer than 6 hours per night are 200% more likely to have a heart attack or stroke during their lifetime. After reading this, I realized that my dad had passed away from a lack of sleep, and this is why I'm so passionate about this topic. I realized sleep issues weren't just a minor problem. They're the start of something much bigger. The next book is The Sleep Book by Dr. Guy Medows, and this one is really geared towards people who struggle with insomnia and just having sleepless nights. Dr. Guy approaches it in a way that's different than Matthew Walker's book for sure. He doesn't give any quick fixes. He walks you through a 5-week program to rewire your sleep habits and mindset. In week 1, he talks about why struggling to sleep is actually making things worse and trying to fix it. If you've ever had those nights where you're tossing and turning, desperately trying to fall asleep, this is for you. The harder you try, the further you get from sleep. In week 2, he drops a bombshell. Accepting your insomnia is the most important step to fixing it. He introduces the concept of mindfulness. Instead of trying to force yourself to sleep, you train your brain to focus on the present moment and just calm your mind overall. This reminds me of something Brian Johnson talks about. He turns into Night Brian. I think he says around 8 p.m. deliberately shutting off his brain and only doing things that will support his sleep. It's that same principle. Be mindful of your actions before bed and don't do anything that's going to cause you to be more stimulated, like maybe online shopping or just scrolling on social media, you know? Then in week 3, Dr. Guy teaches you how to welcome whatever thoughts or sensations come into your mind at night. You're training your brain to stop fighting and just let go of it. By week 4, you're building new sleep patterns and routines. resetting your natural sleep rhythm. And by week 5, he gives you the tools to maintain this lifestyle even on those bad nights where sleep is hard to come by. It's really about creating long-term habits that help you become a normal sleeper again. And last but not least, we got Sleep Smarter by Shawn Stevenson here, and this book is full of practical tips that you can start using right away to improve your sleep. Let's jump into 8 of them. Number 1, setting a caffeine curfew. Personally, I haven't done caffeine in over 3 weeks and my sleep has been phenomenal. But if you do caffeine, I would suggest sticking to it in the morning and cutting it off before noon. Number 2, your bedroom should be cool, around 65 degrees. Number 3, if you're serious about getting better sleep, you gotta get some blackout curtains and just completely blacken out the room, no night lights. Number 4, Shawn also stresses the importance of getting to bed during the money time sleep. He kind of explains it like investing at the right time in the stock market. This is like investing at the right time in the sleep market. The money time is between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. This is when your body goes through the most restorative phases of sleep and we're naturally programmed to do. 5, another interesting point he talks about is gut health. Talks about how you should avoid eating very large meals before bed. Say eating your last big meal at least 3 to 4 hours before you want to go to sleep. 6, sex. You heard that right. Let's just say a little physical intimacy with your partner before bed can help you relax. 7, Stevenson also talks about the timing of your workouts. Ideally, you should work out in the mid-morning or early afternoon. The perfect time in the afternoon is 4:30 p.m. Sets your body up with the right down regulation and temperature. Late night workouts can rise your body temperature too high before you go to bed and makes it harder to cool down unless you take like a cool shower. Number 8, and of course, supplements. He talks about natural supplements that can help improve sleep, like chamomile, which is why I added it to our night nutrition protein powder. But there's one thing he warns about: the melatonin mistake. Shawn talks about how supplementing with melatonin can actually down-regulate your body's ability to naturally produce it. That's why I didn't include it in our protein powder that we're going to be launching soon. I want to help you sleep naturally and not build a dependency on melatonin. I created Night Nutrition to give you the essentials for sleep like chamomile and magnesium glycinate while promoting muscle recovery. But more importantly, it's just a symbol of prioritizing sleep. So what can you take away from these 3 books? Mattew Walker taught us that sleep is essential for survival. Dr. Guy Medows showed us how to overcome insomnia through acceptance and routine. And Shawn Stevenson gave us the practical tips and tools to optimize our sleep quality. If you are serious about improving your health and want more tips and updates on how to improve your sleep and want to know when we're launching the Night Nutrition protein powder, I would highly suggest subscribing to the Night Nutrition newsletter. Another video I'd recommend watching is this one right here. I go into detail on 4 sleep mistakes that you could be making. Click here to make sure you're not avoiding them.